for some good news with all the injuries that they have had, trying to win a ball game and get on the plane to Milwaukee feeling a little bit better about things. It's a different looking lineup for the Twins with a righty on the mound in Scherzer. So Matt Wallner is back in there. Larnach is in as well. Cody Clemens gets his first start. A lot, and I mean a lot, of left-handed bats. 8 of the 9 will bat from the left side against Max Scherzer.
Well, that's what Derek Shelton and the Twins know. They want to throw as many lefties at him as possible. Just 2 starts for Max this season, and it didn't go well last time. That forearm stiffened up on him. He gave up a 2-run homer to Teoscar Hernandez in the first inning, exited that game early. The velocity was down a tick. He knows he's going to have to use all of his pitches against left-handers. He'll use the four-seamer, the changeup, curveball, slider, cutter. That's how most right-handers that are at a disadvantage to left-handed hitters have to do. They got to move it around and change speeds. Defensively behind Max this afternoon, Jesus Sanchez hit his second Blue Jays homer yesterday. And the Blue Jays outfield is the same, left to right, Sanchez, Varsho, and Nathan Lucas. On the infield, back to what we've accustomed to see him. Okamoto back in there at third base. Jimenez and Clement up the middle. Vladimir Guerrero Jr. at first. Brandon Valenzuela is starting for the 3rd day in a row. John Schneider told us today that Tyler Heineman is experiencing some back spasms, so hoping to get some more treatment today and tomorrow on the off day and be ready in Milwaukee, perhaps.
You know, it's interesting. Max Scherzer started against the Twins in Fort Myers in spring training, and generally teams have their A lineups in there when you're at home, but only 2 of the 9 guys who were starters today were in that game in Fort Myers 3 weeks ago. Trevor Larnach and Brooks Lee both saw him, but nobody else did. Scherzer just kind of pacing a little bit, rocking back and forth, waiting to get word. We might have a little bit of just make sure the pitch comm is working. Brandon Valenzuela starting his 3rd consecutive game. And looks like they got to get a new one. And this is not what Scherzer wanted. He was ready to go.
No, this will upset a starting pitcher. They have rhythm and timing. They time it all out so that they're ready to go for that first batter. And now an unnecessary delay. And Max is going to have to walk it off, overcome this, and start fresh once he toes the slab.
I wonder if that moment is about as much pressure as Brandon Valenzuela has felt since coming to the.
Yeah.
Never mind catching and hitting and all that. You need the tech to work when the pitchers are ready to go.
It's a high maintenance day behind the plate for a catcher, especially a young one catching Max.
Again, the intent was for Tyler Heineman to be starting, but he's got back spasms. First pitch worked out just fine. A fastball in over the outside corner. And the Blue Jays and Twins are underway on this Sunday afternoon. Cody Clemens getting his first start, off to a slow start this year, 3 for 23. He can play first, second, left, a little right, a little third. This is one of Roger Clemens' sons, as I think most people know. And in his 5th year in the big leagues, he's been a Tiger, a Philly, and a Twin.
In 19 home runs last year. Definitely some pop in the bat, and Max Scherzer knows that. Coming inside.
This is down low with that breaking ball. It's a ball and 2 strikes. The 3rd start of the season for Scherzer. He enters the game 5 strikeouts away from 3,500 in his career. Only 10 pitchers ever have crossed that plateau. All going well. He might become number 11 here today. You know who needs a relaxing day? Pete Walker needs a relaxing day. They don't come often for big league pitching coaches. Way up in the air to shallow right. Clemens was way out in front of that changeup, and it's an easy play for Nathan Lucas.
And there is that mix of pitches. Saw some fastballs, saw a couple sliders down there, and comes back with a changeup that will look like a fastball, but catches Clemens way out front.
I'll tell you what, I know Pete Walker was really happy that Eric Lauer, after that 7-run third, was able to get into the 6th, and that Spencer Miles was able to go 3 2/3 in relief. They didn't win yesterday, but Miles in particular, I mean, saved the rest of the bullpen. Everybody but Miles is available today. There is an off day tomorrow, so John Schneider can load up in any which way he thinks he has to try to win this game today. Here's Trevor Larnach, who hit a 3-run homer off Lauer yesterday. And he sends one to center field. It is playable for Dalton Varsho. 2 down.
Good location from Max there, staying away from Larnach. That ball that he hit out of the ballpark yesterday was a fastball, and it stayed right in the middle of the plate.
And sometimes we pay too much attention to velocity, but Max Scherzer, 93.7, 93.5, that's where he wants to be. He was down closer, kind of 91 to 92 in his last start with a forearm tendonitis, so good to see him up closer to 94. Luke Keyshaw fouls back a fastball, and it's 0-1. Keyshaw, the second baseman, hitting 193. He is 1 for 7 so far in the series. The Twins coming in at 8-6, came into Toronto off a 4-game sweep of the Tigers. Have split the first 2 here and heading home to start a homestand. Derek Shelton and company right after this series. And by the way, John Schneider told us today that Derek Shelton, who was a good friend of his, and we'll tell you more about that as time allows, John Schneider will manage the American League All-Star team this year by virtue of the Blue Jays being in the World Series. He gets to take one manager with him, and it is going to be Derek Shelton. He has already told the guy that everybody calls Shelty, but he announced it publicly today. The two of them had a long chat on the field. Of course, Shelton was a coach with the Blue Jays back in 2017. Schneider was managing in Dunedin at the time. That's a fastball, and that is strike 3 called. And that is a very nice way for Max Scherzer to get this ball game underway. 3 up, 3 down. Up against the big fastball of Taj Bradley. Dalton Varsho's homered in each of the last 2 games. Jesus Sanchez hitting cleanup again. Kazuma Okamoto back in the lineup. And there's Eloy Jimenez about to make his Blue Jay debut. He was added to the roster today with Springer going on the IL. This is a former Rays, so a guy a lot of these Blue Jays know well, and that means, Joe, they know he's got a big fastball.
Just 25 years old, was traded to the Twins at the deadline last year for a very good reliever in Griffin Jacks. He's in his 4th big league season, and in last year between Tampa and Minnesota, he had an ERA over 5, but he is off to a great start this season. A big fastball averaging 97, and the splitter is going to be a big pitch for Bradley against these Blue Jays.
There's the big fastball way high, and it's all the way to the backstop for ball 1 to Clement, who's hitting 286. Bradley always had the stuff, you could see it, but it never quite came together. A good month, a bad month, back and forth in his time with Tampa Bay. Clement gets one in the air to left field, and that'll get down. And Ernie is on his way to second base with a leadoff double.
Just because that's what Ernie does, put him in the leadoff spot. He doesn't care where he hits. He's not going to change his approach. Ernie's looking for something in the strike zone, and he's trying to punish it. That's exactly what he does with this fastball from Bradley.
Now Dalton Varsho, who, as we mentioned, he has started getting hot as George Springer looks on from the third base dugout. Derek Shelton was asked specifically about Varsho before the game, and he said, yeah, it's about time for us to get out of town, the way that he started to swing it. He had a double and a homer on Friday, had another homer yesterday, his first 2 homers of the season. One ball and 1 strike, as that is blocked by the catcher, Victor Caratini.
And for opposing managers, that's why these guys are tough to face, the ones that do damage. And we know when Dalton Varsho is on, he can change the game with 1 swing of the bat.
They play him to pull on the infield, basically straight away in the outfield. That's way high, ball 2. And so far we've seen 94s and 95s from Bradley, who, as you mentioned, averages 97 and certainly can hit 98, 99.
And a really high arm angle. That arm's almost straight up there. Not quite Trey Savage-like, but it's up there.
Ground ball to the right side, and that'll get through for a base hit. And that will bring Ernie Clement in with the first run of the ball game.
Well, Dalton does it a different way. This is a ground ball. Yes, he's trying to move the runner, but when you're trying to move a runner, you're also trying to drive him in, and that's exactly what Varsho did. He got him over all right. He also got him in.
Fourth hit and fourth RBI in the series for Dalton Varsho. Here's Vladimir Guerrero Jr., who is 5 for 9 in the series, 4 singles and a double. And in his career against Taj Bradley, 7 for 14 with a home run. And Bradley falls behind 2-0.
He's also got a cutter and curveball to go with the fastball splitter combination. We've seen a little bit of them all right now, but the splitter's been a big pitch for him. I thought we'd see a little bit more of it even early, so we'll see if he doesn't go to it more.
Throws it more to lefties than righties, about 10% of the time to righties, closer to 30% of the time against lefties. Not unusual. Chop foul, 2-1. Varsho driving in Clement with an early run here for the Blue Jays. You can see George Springer's in pretty good spirits, and you know, it may be the news that it could just be 10 days or a little bit more than that. Maybe that came as a big sigh of relief to everybody. You hear the word fracture and you just assume it's going to be longer than that, but you know, they're going on a 9-game road trip after tonight. It starts Tuesday. Their next home game is a week from Friday, so 12 days from now, maybe best case scenario, George misses the road trip and that's it. But it's kind of a day-to-day, see how he's feeling as time goes along.
And John Schneider even said today that one option could have been not putting him on the IL yet, maybe midweek trying to see how he's feeling out, but then you're playing a player short, and that's pretty tough in a situation like this. Ideally, you don't want to do that. He's navigated these muddy waters before, and he's going to have to do it again here.
That was Eloy Jimenez you saw in the dugout. He is in the lineup. He is taking the roster spot of Springer. The 2-2 again to Guerrero, and he shoots it foul down the line. Eloy Jimenez, by the way, got a phone call at about 10:30 last night that he was coming to the big leagues. He got here this morning. He got here at about, I think, about 11 o'clock. About 11 o'clock this morning. So now he was with the team in the spring. He knows everybody, but he's only been here a couple of hours. Good battle here between Bradley and Guerrero.
And he did go to the splitter to these last 2 pitches. That one a little better than the previous one, more down in the zone.
You can see Guerrero's been very tough to strike out this year. He's hitting for average. He's taking walks. He's not striking out. And the power is coming. Last 7 games, 3 doubles and a homer. The slug, of course, is what really drives in the runs, right? And that's what they need. And Guerrero knows that. He's not off to a bad start. Again, a lot of things are going well. It's just there hasn't been as much power early, but it is trending. It seems to be trending in that direction.
Anytime you're walking more than you're striking out, that's an amazing thing for a hitter. Hard to maintain that throughout the course of a season, but he knows he wants to slug the baseball.
Varsho the lead. He's running, and it's ball 4 to Guerrero. So it's 2 on with nobody out, with a run in already for the Blue Jays here in the bottom of the first. And that's going to bring up Jesus Sanchez, who, you know what, Joe, I think is getting overlooked a little bit for what he has done so far. He's hitting .275. He's got a couple of home runs, one yesterday. He's got an OPS of .841. He's been good. He's been good
in a lineup that hasn't been themselves just yet, so he's actually, for me, standing out a little bit. Second home run yesterday.
John Schneider used words like, or phrases like, it'll be a challenge. The team might have to get a little creative in how they think about scoring runs, but nobody can replace George Springer. But if each guy can do a little bit more.
An opportunity knocks for Eloy Jimenez.
Right.
From AAA, maybe he takes advantage of the situation. Maybe Jesus Sanchez steps up even more and shows a little bit more in the power department. Maybe Vladdy, this is where he takes off. It takes the entire village, and all of these guys know missing their leadoff hitter is a tough loss.
Looking to put up a crooked number here in the bottom of the first. Fouled off, 2-1, and down goes Sanchez. And boy, after what happened yesterday, this is about the last thing you want to see. Right off the toe, right off the big toe.
Close to the same spot George did from the other side of the plate.
Yeah, Springer did it on the left toe, on the big toe of his left foot as a right-handed batter. Reverse everything for Sanchez.
You see that guard comes onto the top of the foot, but doesn't extend all the way to the toe.
And a challenge coming here from Victor Caratini.
Call the fields the ball. The catcher's challenging.
The Twins, as we mentioned Friday, by far the most aggressive team in baseball, challenging.
Strike,
and that is a successful one. This closer look brought to you by Specsavers. So the Twins still have 2, and the count is 2-2 on Sanchez. The pitch. Ground ball to second, backhanded. There's one, and on to first. They'll turn it. A big double play for the Twins as Varsho comes to third.
Just got him out front a little bit, out and around. There's that splitter. It's not his best splitter, but it gets Sanchez out front, and he rolls that ball over to the second baseman.
So runner at third, 2 down, and back in the lineup today is Kazuma Okamoto. Got his first day off yesterday. Struggling in recent days after getting off to a pretty good start and having a very good spring. And obviously even more than before now with Kirk out and Barger out and Springer out. Everybody matters a little bit more. That includes Okamoto.
Yeah, talk about opportunities for some and others hopefully stepping up. And wouldn't that be nice to see Okamoto lean into that power stroke in the absence of Springer.
2-0. And Caratini wants to have a word with Bradley.
Talk so much about the protection behind Vladimir Guerrero Jr. and we're probably going to see more and more of this where he doesn't get a whole lot to hit. It's the Sanchez of the world, the Okamotos, these guys hitting behind Vladdy. They're going to have to be doing some damage for them to pitch to Vladdy. So Vladdy, for now, take your walks. I mean, you don't want to start getting him to expand the zone.
Sanchez is in cleanup now 5 consecutive games. On opening day, obviously Springer was the leadoff man. Addison Barger hit cleanup right behind Guerrero, and Alejandro Kirk hit 5th. They are missing the guys intended to be their 1, 4, and 5 hitters.
3 of your top 5. That's tough.
A little high, and it's 3-0. You can see Caratini thought about challenging again, and he was right the first time. So they've still got 2, but decided against it. And that's ball 4. The second walk given up by Bradley here in the bottom of the first. Not the kind of start that Derek Shelton wanted to see from his starter, who brought a 1.08 ERA into this game in his first 3 starts.
And walks have not been an issue for Bradley. The strikeouts are high, the walks are low. Great combination, but he's fighting it early.
And again, not throwing as hard as he normally does. Here and there, yes, but overall, no. Here's Nathan Lucas. 2 for 22 so far this year. Wouldn't this be a nice time for a 2-out base hit to bring home a run? Strike taken. It's 0-1.
Well, I think John Schneider's telling us all something today with Ernie Clement in the leadoff spot, because if Nathan Lucas was doing 2025 Nathan Lucas things, this would be an ideal spot for him to lead off. But off to a slow start. You want the contact ability of Ernie at the top with a hard throwing right-hander.
Swings through it. 0-2. Bradley up to 97 on that one. A peek at Okamoto, the runner at third. Varsho's at third. Okamoto at first, I should say. Varsho at third, and a swing and a miss. Bradley just stayed with the high heater, and he gets Lucas. So the Blue Jays get one, but the goal number one for that any player says is don't get hurt. But that's where they are at right now. They've got 10 players on the IL, four position players and 6 pitchers. John Schneider said, quote, Max Scherzer craves information. So he was happy to get that MRI and see that it came back clean. And then Schneider said, you know, I had 2 or 3 conversations with Scherzer yesterday, which sounds like it's kind of a daily thing. Max loves just kind of, I don't even know if he knocks. He might just walk into John Schneider's office, sit down on the couch.
Talking shop.
Yeah. A little bit inside. Ball 1. It's 1-1 on Josh Bell, the DH for the Twins. Looked like a cutter there that winds up a little up and in, and it's 2 balls and a strike on Bell, who's got some good career numbers against Scherzer. Bell and Caratini are the 2 guys in the Twins lineup who have had some pretty good success against Max. Fastball's a little low, ball 3.
And this is what you have to do against the left-handed hitters in this lineup. He's seeing 8 of them today. You've got to mix it around. You see the cutter in, then you see him go back down. He goes soft away, try to speed him up in again.
And missed outside. A leadoff walk here in the top of the second. You know, going back to the bottom of the first, great to get the early lead, but it feels like kind of a win for the Twins that the Blue Jays only got 1 in that situation.
I'm sure Taj Bradley wants to get things back in order, and he's so glad to get out of there just allowing 1.
Matt Wallner, the right fielder, is the batter. This is popped up back out of play. Wallner went 0 for 4 on Friday night. Didn't play yesterday. We talked about him quite a bit on Friday night. He's got a ton of power, but a ton of swing and miss. Scherzer started him with a curveball on the first pitch. And then tries a change, misses outside.
And I think, like a lot of left-handed hitters, a lot of that power is in the bottom half of the zone. So we'll see if he's not using that soft stuff there to set up maybe hard stuff up high.
The Blue Jays play him to pull about as much as the rules allow on the infield. There's a ton of space over near third base. But obviously this is where the data says the ground balls go.
There it is there. Tried to elevate the fastball. You can see that very defensive swing from Wallner. Very powerful hitter.
So now if you're catching, you're going back, maybe change up down and away?
If he does that, for me, it's in the dirt. You're trying to get him to chase you because this guy has struck out a ton early in this season.
And now Wallner will ask for his timeout. Remember, it's Brandon Valenzuela back there, right? The first time that he is catching Max Scherzer in a regular season game. Tyler Heineman's got some back spasms that he is dealing with, so Valenzuela's catching for the 3rd day in a row. 1-2, and it hit him. A slider that ran way in on him and hit him, and the first 2 have reached.
Well, that one just took off on Max. He yanked this, and it never had a chance. Started in and went in some more, right into the left knee of Wallner. That's the pitch where he's trying to bury it more on the plate, and he just yanked it.
So the Twins are threatening on a walk and a hit batter. 2 on, nobody out for Caratini. The other Twin with the really good numbers off Scherzer in this lineup, and his are great. He is 10 for 22 with 2 homers in his career against Max Scherzer.
And if you know those numbers, you know who else knows them? Max Scherzer.
Absolutely. Caratini is in his 10th year in the big leagues. He's never really been a full-time #1 guy. Kind of has, you know, split the job Been a backup at times. He's a .244 career hitter with 58 homers in 734 games in the big leagues, but he has had a lot of success against Max Scherzer.
He's one of the two main signings for the Twins in the offseason, him along with Josh Bell.
The fastball up and in is fouled off, and it's 1-2.
We talked so much over the last 2 days about the Twins and their deadline last season, trading 11 players. The payroll's down. They did add a couple of guys to try to tread water, but the biggest one is Pablo Lopez, who they lost early in the spring.
Lost for the season.
Yep, Tommy John surgery, out for the year.
1-2. Tried the change. Caratini wouldn't chase. A quick first inning, 3 up, 3 down on 12 pitches, 13 so far here in the second, and still looking for his first out. Missed away again. So it's a full count with Tristan Gray waiting on deck.
You can see what he's doing by changing speeds, moving the ball in and out, but too far off the plate.
Down goes Caratini. And Derek Shelton concerned.
Are we seeing this more and more in baseball?
Like ooh, right off the inside of the right knee.
Knees, ankles, feet, toes. And you can see where that pitch was. It was coming in on him. So when you go to take your hack and catch the top of the baseball and the outside of the baseball.
Walks it off and says he is good to remain in the game. This is a big pitch. 2 on, nobody out. Scherzer needs an out here to try to keep a lid on this inning. The runners lead. And the 3-2. And it's strike 3 called for out number 1.
Move the ball in, out, change speeds, make it tough on these left-handed hitters, and Max just dotted a fastball on the inside corner.
Strikeouts are brought to you by Subway. Buy 1 foot long, get 1 free with a $0 delivery fee. Offer ends April 26th. Use the code to save on this Subway digital exclusive. So that's the first out of the inning. Here's the third baseman, Tristan Gray, hitting .263. This is out of play left side, and it's 0-1. Minnesota not a team with a ton of power, although whenever they come to the Rogers Center, they seem to defy that. They've hit a home run in 25 straight games here going back over the years. That's the longest in their franchise history against any team ever. And they might have just added to it right here. Gray launches a 3-run homer into the second level, and Minnesota is out in front.
Come on, baby.
Well, this is what happens when a pitch does not behave the way you want it to behave. This cutter was left middle in and up. Watch the setup. You want to get this pitch up and in, up at the top of the zone and up above the waist. And Max knows right away when he doesn't quite finish it where it's going to end up. So frustrating for a pitcher when the idea might be right, but when you do not execute.
In all 3 games now, Joe, they have hit not only an early home run, it's been an early 3-run homer in all 3 of these games.
Well, you talked about the big pitch coming up to Caratini. He got the strikeout, but still more big pitches needed, and he didn't make one there.
That's the first hit given up by Scherzer, but it scores 3 after the walk and the hit by pitch.
Again with Max, he knows what he has to do against these lefties. He starts with a fastball out there, so he's trying to come in. Again, you bring that cutter up and in to speed him up, and then he's probably going to go back soft. So the game plan is there, but when you do not execute your pitch, A, you might pay, B, it's hard to sequence. This guy's been doing it a long time, and he knew right away he didn't get it where he wanted to put it.
A couple of strikes on the shortstop, Brooks Lee, who has homered in each of the first 2 games of the series, his first 2 home runs of the season. Outside for ball 1.
Go back to Patrick Corbin's start on Friday night. There was a couple ground balls that found holes. Those aren't the ones that hurt you. It's the 3-run homer after. In this case, it's a walk and a hit batter.
Fly ball to center, and Varsho there for out number 2. And if you ever hear the term sequencing, you know, one of the things that can mean is if it's home run, walk, hit, batter, it's 1 run. If it's walk, hit, batter, home run, it's 3 runs. And for whatever reason, Corbin, Lauer, Scherzer have all had, you know, that bit of traffic before the big hit. So a 3-run homer early in each game for the Twins as Corbin and Lauer, the starters Friday and Saturday, look on. Lauer's feeling a little bit better day by day, still not 100%. Told me he lost about 7-8 pounds in the last week. And what got him yesterday was how tired he felt. He normally doesn't feel tired until you're right near the end of the start, but he was pretty tired earlier on in the start, still feeling the after effects of that flu that was running around the clubhouse.
And pitchers and catchers will talk sequencing. It's the sequencing of pitches and how you set it up. And as a catcher, you're always thinking 1 and 2 and 3 pitches ahead. So I go back to that home run. I totally get what they were doing. First pitch fastball out over. You tried to run the cutter up and in. There's a good chance after that Max was going to go back out soft away, maybe with the backdoor breaking ball or change it. So you're thinking like that. But as soon as you don't execute one, the game plan goes awry.
On the appeal, no swing, so it's 1-2 on James Outman, who was picked up at a deal last July from the Dodgers, looking for his first hit of the season. Part-time guy in the outfield, 0 for 14 so far this year. Swing and a miss, and Scherzer gets him. But the Twins have the lead. Tristan Gray with a 3-run homer, 3-1 Minnesota. Let's see if we can get this over $3 million between now and then. Here's Eloy Jimenez, who has taken the place of George Springer on the roster. The former member of the Chicago White Sox. Actually signed with the Blue Jays late last season, played 6 games at the end of the year in Buffalo, had a very impressive spring training with the Blue Jays. 29 years of age, at one point was one of the top prospects in all of Major League Baseball. If you go back to 2019, according to MLB.com, the #1 prospect in baseball was Vladimir Guerrero Jr. Number 2 was Fernando Tatis Jr. Number 3 was Eloy Jimenez. He goes around here and strikes out. He had a big rookie season, but has really been plagued by injuries for years. Healthy now, and you never know, but looked very good in the spring, off to a decent start with Buffalo, and the Blue Jays think maybe he can give them a bit of a spark.
Was really hitting the ball hard consistently down in Dunedin. Something David Popkins talked a lot about, trying to find that old stroke after all of these injuries.
Here's Andres Jimenez. So we have back-to-back Jimenez's in the lineup, with Eloy hitting 7th and Andres hitting 8th.
Could that be a law firm? Jimenez and
Jimenez. One with a J, one with a G. You talked about the leadoff spot. It's Clement today. Maybe it's Lucas on a given day. Maybe it's Davis Schneider against a lefty. Maybe it's Andres Jimenez one day. And John Schneider used the word creative earlier today.
Well, I think the way he's gotten off to a nice start this season, he's been having very good at-bats, swinging the bat well. And he's certainly, I think, a consideration because of that. You can't really look back at last year and the way he struggled offensively. That's not really an option. But, you know, 20-25 Nathan Lucas is an option in the leadoff spot. It's just he's off to a rough start right now, so it's not ideal.
Jimenez, a couple of homers, 9 RBIs, a 735 OPS. Shoots it down the left field line, just foul.
I certainly think Davis Schneider will be a very viable option against a left-handed starter because of his on-base ability, the great plate appearance that he gives you, and also the potential for damage.
And that is right there for strike 3 called, and out number 2 here in the bottom of the second.
Well, there's that good velocity from Taj Bradley. That one at 97, and it just froze Jimenez. 4-seam fastball, those fingers across the seams. Gives it that good true rotation.
3 strikeouts in a row going back to the bottom of the first, and here's Brandon Valenzuela starting his 3rd consecutive game. Again, Tyler Heineman's dealing with some back spasms, hopefully not serious. Valenzuela with his first big league homer on Friday night, went 0 for 3 yesterday. And he goes around. It's 0-2.
Well, that's what good velocity will do to a young hitter. Brandon obviously gearing up for that 95, 97 stuff. And you commit a little bit early to that good breaking ball from Bradley.
Bradley tried to get him again with a curveball, but this time Valenzuela laid off. And look at those numbers on the curveball a season ago. In the dirt, 2-2. That's the splitter. It's a hard splitter, 91. Left that one up, and it's popped up by Valenzuela, and it will just get out of play. Gray over to have a look, but it bounces into the seats.
When he leaves that splitter up, those are the ones that you want to get to. Went a little too far up for Valenzuela.
Two down and the base is empty, and a 2-2 count on Valenzuela. And he fights off another one. 97 from Bradley. The Blue Jays got a double from Clement and an RBI single by Varsho to get things started in the bottom of the first. Sanchez, though, hit into a double play. They left a couple of men on. Swing and a miss. And Taj Bradley strikes out the side at the bottom of the second. The Pens and the Caps at 3 Eastern on Sportsnet 360.
Couple of youngsters going at it, huh?
2 of the best to ever do it. 3-1 Twins, top 3, top of the order. Cody Clemens leads it off against Max Scherzer. Clemens hit a fly ball to right to begin the ball game back in the top of the first. That was a changeup from Max, but that was up in the zone. Got a lot of the strike zone, but Clemens did not offer at it. Fastball grounded just foul up the right side, 1-2.
And that's what a pitcher catcher refers to as speeding a hitter up. A couple of changeups, and then you see what Clemens did there. Really accelerated the bat through the zone, so he sped him up, and now would be a good time to slow him back down, soft away.
Tried a slider, a curveball actually, that he bounces in, and it's 2-2. The rubber match of this 3-game series, the Twins 8-7, the Blue Jays 6-8. Some of the good news for the Blue Jays is nobody in the American League East has gotten off to a great start. Well, I guess the Yankees did. They were 8-2, but now they're 8-6, and it's crazy super early. Like, we get that, but the Yankees have lost 4 in a row, and they're trailing the Rays today 3-0. The Yankees have kind of stopped hitting in recent days. This one high in the air to deep right field, and all Lucas can do is turn and watch it go. Second home run of the ball game for the Twins, and it's 4-1.
Slider down in the zone, but he probably didn't get it down as far as he wanted to, even though it's down. A guy like Clemens, and he's got some pop. I mentioned it earlier. 19 home runs last year between Philly and Minnesota, and he scooped this one out of there. Trying to go down and in, but caught a lot of plate. He knows right away that's a danger zone. You're going for the swing and miss. The dangerous if you don't get it. That's a rake zone for left-handed hitters.
And again, because of the way the Twins roster is, Max Scherzer is seeing 8 guys hitting from the left side of the plate in this game.
And that is absolutely by design from Derek Shelton. If you can line up a bunch of lefties against Max, you do it. Right-handed pitchers are always going to face that platoon disadvantage. Left-handed hitters just see the ball better. I've talked to Max about this because he's done this for so long, and he said the best solution is to have an array of options, change speeds, moving in and out, and really trying to pitch. But this is Max Scherzer, 41 years old. The ball's not coming out of his hand like it was back in 2010. And what I mean by that is hitters can pick it up better.
Yeah.
It's not as crisp.
Lined into center. It's a base hit for Trevor Larnach. And with the way, again, their roster is configured, Derek Shelton's got 13 position players, of course. 5 of them are left-handed batters, 5 of them are right-handed batters, and 3 are switch hitters. So if he wants, every time a righty's out there, he can have 8 left-handed bats. Every time a lefty's out there, if he wants, he can have 8 right-handed bats. Here's Keyshaw, the only righty in the starting lineup today.
Oral Hershiser was here for the Dodgers series, sitting right next to us in the broadcast booth, and I talked to him about that. Here's a guy that did it a long time, a really good one. And I said, what do you do when you get to a point where obviously it becomes a disadvantage? And he said exactly that. You start sinking the ball, you start doing different things, but he said you have to, because as you get older, the arm speed's not there, that deception's not there, the ball's not coming out of your hand the same way. It's a little flat. It's just not as explosive as it once was. So you're trying to navigate that by changing speeds and locating, but it's just what you battle as you get older.
Fastball in there, 2-1. And the Blue Jays at this point, with all the injuries and everything else going on in the rotation, are relying so heavily on Kevin Gausman and Dylan Cease right now. And those 2 guys are great and durable and healthy and pitching well and all of that. But that's a lot to put on 2 guys. The Blue Jays built up a lot of depth in the rotation, but it's all been eroded because of the injuries. Ground ball past a diving Okamoto. That's into left, a base hit. Up to second. On the play goes Larnach.
Well, Max got the ground ball, potential double play, but it's just out of the reach of Okamoto. But again, very flat, middle of the plate, not a lot of break on that pitch. He's hoping Okamoto could glove that ball and maybe turn, or at least get one, but it's into left field.
And Valenzuela has gone to the mound for a conversation with Scherzer, just to try to maybe slow things down a little bit. It's already 4-1, 2 on, nobody out here in the 3rd. And Pete Walker making his first phone call of the afternoon. Again, as we mentioned, because Lauer was able to persevere into the 6th inning, and then Spencer Miles went 3 2/3, went the rest of the way. The other 7 relievers, everybody other than Miles, should be in play here today. And they've got an off day tomorrow, so John Schneider can manage aggressively. Ball 1 to Josh Bell.
And like we saw Friday night, you have to manage aggressively because this lineup is very capable of putting up some runs and coming back like they did on Friday.
Ball 2. And it's Joe Mantiply who is getting up in the pen, and that's to either force the hand of Derek Shelton a little bit, see if he makes a move to get a lefty or 2 out there, or get the platoon advantage if he doesn't. Mantiply getting ready in a hurry. The other thing too, they had an off day Thursday. They've got one tomorrow. After that, they've got 9 in 9 days. 3 in Milwaukee, 3 in Arizona, 3 in Anaheim. And I mean, this goes for every team. You need as much length out of your starters as you can get. Another close miss. He falls behind 3-1 on Bell. He cruised through the first inning. 3 up, 3 down on 12 pitches, but a much different story in the second and third. Ball 4, and that will load the bases.
Well, you can see he's fighting it out there, and his pitching coach knows that too. They can see that as a catcher. You can see it. The body language will tell you everything. He's frustrated that he's not executing these pitches.
So they're loaded with nobody out for Matt Wallner, who was hit by a pitch in the second. Curveball swung on and missed. 0-1. Up and away.
Wallner's in the driver's seat. He knows the pitcher out there is scuffling. He can really zone Scherzer in right here.
Went after a high fastball. 1-2.
Good spot. I expect he might go back up there. Remember we said earlier he handles the bottom half of the zone real well. Chases one up there. Might as well try to get him to chase again.
The 1-2 pitch. He does go up there again, and this time Wallner fouls it back.
And I like that from Valenzuela if he's the one calling that, because what we're seeing today is Max not executing the spin. He's hanging the spin, the cutters, the sliders. That's not ideal. So you go to maybe where you can locate well. He did locate that fastball well, but Wallner got a piece of it.
One, 2 again. That one pops out of the mid of Valenzuela. That slider missing just low, and it's 2-2.
It's a young catcher trying to pull that back up into the zone, trying to get the call. Trying to make it look good and steal that call from the umpire, but he came up a little too soon.
Lined over Clement into right, a base hit. And that will cash in another run as Larnach comes in. Keyshaw is held at third. It is now 5-1 for the Twins.
And this is what happens. I love the fastball up calls, but he goes back to the slider. Look at the pitch. It just rolls in there. It has not been successful at all. For me, I'm going to live and die with a fastball up in the zone to Wallner right there, because I'm afraid of what's going to happen if you spin it. And Wallner showed you why.
John Schneider will leave Scherzer in for at least one more batter. Here's Victor Caratini, who struck out in the second. Caratini asked for his timeout. And Scherzer falls behind 2-0. Got him to chase. 2-1. Fly ball to right field. Lucas back into the alley to make the catch. Keyshaw will come to score. Bell goes to third, and the sac fly makes it 6-1. And here comes John Schneider. So Max Scherzer will go just 2 1/3 here today. He's given up 6 runs, 2 more men on base. Still his responsibility, as once again the Blue Jays have to go to the bullpen early. Joe Mantiply, and the Twins saw him on Friday night. 3 batters, and Joe, he struck out all 3 of them.
Struck out all 3, looked very good too, pounding the zone. He's got that good sinker that he will use combined with his curveball. Use the changeup against the righties, and he'll use the sinker curveball combination against the lefties, and he gets a lefty to start with in Tristan Gray.
So 3 runs in the inning. It is 6-1 to Minnesota. First and third with 1 out. Gray hit a 3-run homer off Scherzer in the second. That almost hit him.
Well, that's the sinker that he will use, and I asked Mantiply about this the other day, and he'll use the lefty because it's a dangerous spot when you're coming into lefties. If it's sinking down and in, that's their rake zone, as we've continued to talk about. But he said what he likes to do with his angle, sometimes it looks like a strike to the hitters, but then it runs in off the plate.
And that does hit him. And the bases are loaded again. And Gray is shaken up.
Well, when I said run in off the plate, I meant it in a good way because you could jam hitters. That one just took off. Look at the arm angle. It's way down there, so that ball's just going to keep running in on the lefties. It's a fine line there, right? Because it's a good weapon for him, but when he doesn't have it, doesn't have command of that pitch, it just takes off.
And Gray obviously in a lot of discomfort right now. Ooh. Got him just below the right elbow. It looks like he's walked down to first and will stay in the game, but you know he's feeling that.
There aren't many good places on the arm. Around the elbow, a lot of bones. Forearms, not a lot of padding there.
Well, glad he made him smile. Not a lot to smile about for the Blue Jays right now, down 6-1. The bases are loaded again, and here is Brooks Lee, 0 for 1 on a fly ball to center. The infield has come in for the Blue Jays. That's a fair ball down the left field line. Bell will score. Wallner right behind him. Gray into third on a 2-run double by Lee, and the Twins just keep on coming.
Well, after a couple of sinkers to the first hitter, the lefty Gray comes back first pitch curveball, and this breaks right into the barrel. Looks like he's trying to backdoor it away, and it comes right down and in, right into the barrel. A lot of missed spots, missed execution here today by Blue Jays pitching.
So now James Outman becomes the 9th Twin to come to the plate. There's still just 1 out. The infield is in. A ground ball to second. Clement looks the runner back on to first for out number 2. bring up Cody Clemens, who homered to begin this inning.
Second day in a row the Twins have batted around.
In the third. Did it early yesterday. Second and third, 2 down. And that's ball 1 to Clemens. So a rough one for Scherzer. He is in the dugout looking on, as you can see, at least for now. It's 8-1 to Minnesota. There's been some power, a couple of home runs. There have been some walks. There have been 2 hit batters in this game, one by Scherzer, one by Mantiply. This is chopped back towards the mound. Mantiply, they will get the out. Boy, what a nice job there by Guerrero. He had to lunge way to his right to get out number 3. The top of the third finally comes to a close. Fans celebrating a birthday here on a Junior Jays Sunday. It's the top of the order. Clement, Varsho, and Guerrero. This combination was involved in that the one Blue Jays run back in the bottom of the first. It started with an Ernie Clement double. Taj Bradley, who was in that dugout for a long time during the top of the third, in there with the knees for strike 1. You see the average for Clement now up to 298 after the double, which was his 5th of the season. That's a fair ball down to third, scooped up by Gray, who makes a nice play for the out as we go down to field level in Hazel May.
Dan, Dalton Varsho batting in the 2-hole for the 5th straight game, and the original plan was to use different people in front of Guerrero depending on whether they're looking for contact or slug and or who they're facing. But it's also a spot where they're hoping to put Varsho in a better position to get pitched to. He's now homered in consecutive games after his 2-run shot yesterday, and already has an RBI single this afternoon. Dan.
Hazel, thank you. And he puts another good swing on a ball here, and he lines it into left center. It'll be a long single for Varsho, who is now 2 for 2.
Well, we've seen more and more teams continue to pitch Dalton up. They've been coming in on him, and one thing to get them to change is to do this to some of the fastballs. We saw him take a Joe Ryan fastball up and in yesterday and hit it out of the ballpark. So once you do that, then pitchers have to change their game plan and go back out over the plate. We know that's where Dalton seems to do a lot of his damage.
That's his 5th hit in the series. Here's Guerrero. You know, back to Hazel's story, and it shows you how quickly things can change. Again, if you look back at opening day and the next game, the second game of the season as well, Nathan Lucas was hitting second. Dalton Varsho was hitting 6th. But as you said, Lucas, he hasn't quite been an everyday guy, and he hasn't swung the bat like he did last year. And so changes get made. It's do you want slug, do you want contact, what about the matchup against that day's specific pitcher, but it's also about who's hot and who's not.
John Schneider has a lot of options, that is for certain. We talked about Vladdy earlier and who hits behind Vladdy, and until the guys make sure, like Sanchez is getting his opportunities to swing the bat, Okamoto's been a little quiet despite having a couple of home runs, but that's going to matter because in key situations Vladdy's not going to get a ton to hit until Sanchez and Okamoto start doing some more damage.
Now a 3-0 count on Guerrero.
Now in an 8-1 ball game, if I'm Taj Bradley, I'm going right after Guerrero.
Varsho the lead, 1 down here in the bottom of the third. And that's inside. It's ball 4 as Guerrero walks for the second time today.
Catch every pitch with Canada's most reliable 5G Plus network and best 5G Plus network. Rogers, we got you.
Blue Jays trying to chip away here, get into this deficit a little bit early in the game. They've got first and second, 1 out for Jesus Sanchez. who was up with a couple of men on in the first and grounded into a double play.
Caratini putting on some signs just in the event of a double steal. Can't see that happening down 7 runs.
You got to be 200% sure you're going to make it if you try it in this situation. Very high, and Bradley fighting his command at the moment.
It is interesting in the game, and I've always, as a catcher, you're always kind of playing the scoreboard. It's early in the game, but you're up 8-1, and they pitched Vladdy like he was 2-2 in the 9th inning with the bases loaded right there. Like, if you've got 95-98, why not just pump some fastballs, see if you can't get in on him, maybe get him to pop up or something. Play around with your other pitches, you put them on, now you create more problems for yourself.
Close, but no, and it's 2-0.
Vladdy is telling Sanchez right there, right here. Make sure it's right in the middle of the plate.
He's walked 3 already here today. Does that help you as a hitter when one of your teammates on base is giving you a little reminder?
It's a reminder. It's something your third base coach will do oftentimes. I had a lot of third base coaches who would just put their hands together in the shape of a circle to say, hey, make sure it's right there. But you have to be taken all the way here.
Right in there, 3-1. But he doesn't have to be taken all the way 3-1. Not now.
Nope. If we know Jesus Sanchez, we're going to see a pretty aggressive swing here if the same pitch arrives.
George Springer on the IL in the dugout looking on. Ooh, he could not pull the trigger on it, and that's where he likes it too, bottom part of the zone.
Very interesting that he couldn't pull the trigger. Remember yesterday on the home run, he ended up over in the Blue Jays on deck circle, backpedaling. Such a big swing.
Now it's full. And Bradley strikes him out on the 3-2. Sanchez goes after it and comes up empty, 2 down.
That was a really funny at bat for Sanchez to have such an awkward swing at the 3-1 fastball, and then extremely awkward there because you're just a bit of an emergency hack.
And very late on it, as you can see, and it was 98.
Got his pitch and missed it though, right?
The one before.
Yes, the 3-1 fastball down, and you missed it, and then you just don't get that good pitch again.
So 2 down, and here's Okamoto, who walked his first time up. One thing Bradley is doing with all of these pitches and all of these walks is he's preventing himself from having a chance to get really deep into this game. He's got a huge lead.
Somebody tell him it's 8-1.
And another hitter that he falls behind. It's 2-0. .58 pitches, 31 strikes, 27 balls. 3 walks, but 5 strikeouts as well. 2-1 as he drops in a cutter right at the top of the zone.
It looked like such a good pitch to hit, but I think Okamoto sees it up a bit, and then the way it came back down, it looked better than it probably was initially.
Good take there, though, and it's 3-1. Same pitch, but that one below the knees. A look back at Varsho. And a fastball hit way up in the air to left center, not deep at all, and it'll be Outman, the center fielder, to make the catch. 2 more left on here in the bottom of the 3rd by the Blue Jays. Savage back on the mound for the Blue Jays, and again he is progressing. Of all of the injured starting pitchers, it appears Trey Savage is the furthest along. He's made 2 rehab starts, has another one coming up at some point this week, Tuesday or Wednesday. And then last we heard from John Schneider about it was yesterday. He said it's possible that after that he would need 1 more, or it's possible he could come back to the big leagues. All depends on how it goes, how he feels. But if you're the Blue Jays, you know, whatever term you want to use, weather the storm, stay afloat. I mean, they've got so many injured players right now, and it seems like it gets added to on almost a daily basis. There's Addison Barger. Hopefully he's not out too long with that sprained ankle. The left being worse than the right. Sprained both of them on the same play, but the left one is the bigger issue. There's a swing and a miss as Mantiply gets Larnach. It is a lengthy list of injured players, and not only the number of players, but the number of significant players on this list.
Well, we look at Springer, Barger, and Kirk, and you'd said it earlier, 3 of your top 5 hitters if you go back to what the Blue Jays were expecting to see this season. And then on the arms, yes, you can't get Trey Savage back fast enough. You certainly can't rush him back, but what a big injury to Cody Ponce. That's the toughest one when we're looking at what we were hoping for, expecting, and what we had seen just early in that first start.
And out for the season. So a guy who would have taken the ball every 5 games, and you know, we don't know how he would have done, but certainly appeared like he was going to be, you know, a big league starting pitcher, get you deep into the game every time, give you a chance to win. It was only 2 1/3, but that plus what we saw in the spring gave everybody a lot of reason for optimism that he was going to be a big part of the rotation.
Yeah, and now you wait for your Savage and maybe a Barrios and Bieber whenever they come, but it feels like you're always saying can't come soon enough now.
Yeah. The 3 guys on that list who, barring any setbacks, should be back first, and we don't know the order. Savage is one of them. Barger again, hopefully the sprained ankle doesn't keep him out too long. And then, if nothing else, today's news was actually a little bit encouraging about George Springer. I thought that maybe it's not going to be that long. Like, I didn't know in my head yesterday what to think about. Is it 2 weeks or 4 weeks or 6 weeks? I had no idea. But John Schneider, you know, even talked about not even the possibility, but can he play through it? Because George Springer has played through a lot of stuff. That ball lined hard up the middle, of base hit for Keyshaw. It kind of always seemed like a foregone conclusion. He's going on the IL. He's got a broken toe. Yep. But John Schneider referenced last year, remember Ernie Clement broke a small bone, I think at the base of his wrist, if I'm not mistaken, and was in a lot of discomfort but played through it. But the news today on Springer is, yes, he's on the IL, so it's a minimum of 10 days, but hopefully not too much more than that, as Tommy Nance is now up. Springer will be going on the road trip with the Blue Jays when they leave for Milwaukee tonight.
It is amazing to think that some players, you can play through a broken bone. You talked about Ernie Clement's hand. When I asked him about his postseason last year and what changed, and he said, well, first of all, I was healthy. My hand didn't hurt anymore because he was playing with a broken finger or part of his hand there that he got hit by a pitch in late August. Played most of September with it.
You're right, not his wrist. It was a hairline fracture to a small bone at the base of his left pinky. The middle finger. I think the middle
finger. Okay.
I'm not sure. It says here the middle finger at the base of that on his left hand, but still a broken bone.
Yeah. And that's why I think when Schneider said that today about George, it's like they could have given him until midweek just to see how things are going. But now you're playing short a man. We know that Tyler Heineman is fighting a little bit. He's got back spasms.
Did not go. If it's September and they're in a race, maybe a different story. But April.
And that's important too, because I think especially for your leadoff hitter, you want to make sure George, when he comes back, he's good to go. The last thing you want are setbacks in April and May.
1-2 the count on Bell. And I guess if you want to look at the glasses half full, because George is a DH, he's not running around on it. Whenever he comes back, he's not running around on it as much as a guy who's out in the field every day would do.
Put a big old boot on that thing. Protect it.
There goes the runner. The pitch is inside, in and out of the mitt of Valenzuela. It'll be a stolen base for Keyshaw.
Well, Keyshaw gets a good jump on the left, but for Valenzuela, this pitch just took off way in on the righty, and that's a pitch that you've got to reach over there and rake. And oftentimes what you want to see is the catcher take his eyes to that pitch so that you make sure you catch it first, then bring it all the way back across and use that strong arm. Just gave up on it a little too soon.
Chop towards third. It's fair. Okamoto's got it and will make the play to get him for out number 2. Well, I think fans know this on many different levels, but how valuable was George Springer? If you look at Fangraphs WAR, he was the most valuable position player the Blue Jays had. He had a great year. He had a .959 OPS, got some MVP votes. I think finished 7th overall in voting for most valuable player in the American League a season ago.
It was such a remarkable comeback from the previous season where he had really struggled. And a lot of rumblings. Is it father time catching up? Well, George proved that to be wrong. What a year he had.
Matt Wallner, the batter, he's been hit by a pitch and has had an RBI single. He has scored twice. That ball is smoked up the middle, but on a hop, Jimenez has it. The best part of that is that it didn't hit Mantiply. I mean, that ball was coming in hot, and fortunately he was able to get out of the way of it. Right over his shoulder, Jimenez in a good spot to make the play for the third out.
Right at people, and when he hits the ball soft, it's going right at people as well. He is, though, encouraged by some of the long at-bats he's had, like the ones against the Dodgers, but does admit his rhythm and timing, Dan, is still way off. Guys?
Hazel, thank you. And with the injury to Addison Barger, that has given Nathan Lucas Joe more opportunities to be in there. Not going to start in all likelihood against a lefty, but figures to be in there and most of the time against a righty, so maybe a little bit more time to try to get that rhythm and timing back and to get back to what he was doing last year. How many times did we talk about this team last year and say, you know, what Nathan Lucas has done and what Ernie Clement has done? Like, those were the first two names that we always talked about. Guys who came into the season thought of as complementary players who turned into very big parts of this team. And again, they need whatever they can get from all 9 right now with the injuries to Kirk and Barger and Springer.
And when you start the season slow like this, the one thing you would love is a little extra playing time, consistent at-bats, rather than 4 at-bats one day and then you sit for 3 and then get 4 more. But you can kind of string them together. That's the way you start picking up the baseball a little bit better, start seeing it a little bit better, and I'm sure that's what Nathan would love. But that's the nature of the major leagues, right? If there are injuries, you get opportunities, and he didn't have a whole lot of opportunities early on here.
This is popped up, and Gray will have room in foul territory. Lucas retired for out number 1.
And the other thing with a guy like Lucas, we would call it such a good year for a Nathan Lucas that now he starts off slow, and I am sure if I'm Nathan Lucas, I want to prove to everybody else that, no, that was me last year. Like, that's who I am. That's what I can do. So now you start pressing a little bit. It's a terrible situation for a hitter to be in, but the only one to get out of it is you by swinging the bat well.
Second at bat of the ball game for Eloy Jimenez, who struck out his first time up. That is a nasty cutter there from Taj Bradley, and it's 0-2. As we mentioned, Jimenez, 29 years of age. He hit 31 home runs in his rookie season, but year by year started to struggle. The injuries got him, but in his younger years, healthy, a very productive player as he lays off there. So this velocity we talk about with Taj Bradley, averaging almost 97 with his fastball, that is one of the highest fastball velocities for any starting pitcher, 6th to be exact. Second is Jacob Mizorowski, who the Blue Jays will see Tuesday.
Get ready
in Milwaukee. But Jimenez handles that velocity with a base hit into left field.
Just so surprised that Bradley went to the fastball after Jimenez didn't look great on those breaking pitches, the cutters and off-speed pitches, but he tees off on this fastball up and in, but he gets to it.
We'll see if he's an everyday guy while Springer is out, because George is a DH. You know, they can do a lot of things, like Guerrero can get a DH day, or Jesus Sanchez can get a DH day, and they can figure the rest out. And Jimenez did play a little bit of left field and a little bit of first base in spring training, which he had never really played before. If anywhere, he'll be in left field, but the only thing we know for sure is if he hits, he'll play. That is gloved on a bounce by Keyshaw, and they get the out at second, and that's all. Looked like it had a chance to get through, but a good play by Keyshaw, and it's a fielder's choice.
That's an excellent play by the Twins second baseman. And you know, when you make a play like this, make sure he's thinking turning too. But it was a really good job by Brooks Lee at short to make sure he secured this baseball and got the one out. Feeling like he was going to get taken out.
After the out, Eloy Jimenez able to put the brakes on just in time. So 2 outs, and Andres Jimenez at first, and here's Brandon Valenzuela, who struck out in the second. That's high, and it's 2-0. So even beyond the guys who are on the IL, like Tyler Heineman's dealing with back spasms, Miles Straw was kind of quietly down for a day or two after a drop third strike. The catcher tried to throw it down to first, hit him on the left. I don't know if it was the middle finger, the ring finger, one of the fingers on his left hand. He couldn't really grip the bat comfortably for a couple of days. Like even some of the guys who are still in there are hurting right now.
He was a designated runner for a couple days, John said. That's all he could do.
The 2-2. Foul back by Valenzuela.
Couple splitters to start, but now he's getting a steady diet of those fastballs. And I think as a young hitter in the game, I'm sure Brandon is going to get tested with the secondary pitches. They're going to see if he can handle the spin. Because one thing you can do when you get to the big leagues, you can hit a fastball.
There's some spin, but way high, and it's 3-2. If it continues, Ernie Clement comes up. Andres Jimenez will be on the move on the pitch, and Valenzuela pops it up again, headed for the seats over behind the third base dugout.
'97 again from Bradley. This is a pretty good matchup against a young hitter that can get the bat through the zone.
I remember when the trade was made last year. Griffin Jack's very good reliever, going from Minnesota to Tampa Bay, but you know, Bradley's got the big arm and he's young, and the results had been really inconsistent, but I was surprised the Rays traded him.
Me too. Yeah, and I think too, when you're looking at a potential 2-3 in a rotation, that's a big piece that the Twins are banking on.
There goes the runner again, and another foul back by Valenzuela.
And it sounds like Taj Bradley is embracing that a little bit, because it's my understanding that he was going to play in the WBC. I think it was his grandmother that might have Mexican roots, but then once Pablo Lopez, that news came down, he told Derek Shelton, no, he's not going anywhere. All eyes and all efforts are right here with his team. So in a way, he's kind of leading this rotation.
Came in with an ERA just over 1. Valenzuela, these are some pretty good fastballs that Bradley's firing at him.
And I'm sure Bradley right now, after all of these fastballs, would love to drop a breaking pitch or a splitter, but in an 8-1 game, I say just keep going after him. It's your most controllable pitch. The last thing you want to do is walk the number 9 hitter.
3-2 yet again. And that is ball 4. That's a job well done by Valenzuela.
Bradley gave in. Instead of throwing yet another fastball, he went to the breaker. And again, those are not as controllable pitches, and he throws a bad one. But Valenzuela, great plate appearance.
So a meeting on the mound. Is Ernie Clements going to come up? Bradley over 80 pitches here in the 4th inning, so he is not going to get as deep into the game as I'm sure Derek Shelton would like. It's still a big lead for Minnesota, but it's kind of an unsettled bullpen for the Twins too. A real bullpen by committee right now. Still a lot of baseball to be played, but the Blue Jays have to start cashing in some of these opportunities. 1 for 5 today with the runners in scoring position, and that was the Varsho RBI single back in the first.
Now you go back to that first inning, and that inning ended, and we looked at each other saying, 1 run there. That was not what you wanted to come away with.
No, as we said at the time, felt like a win for the Twins. Here's Clement, doubled and scored in the first, and then grounded out in the third. Sizing up where the infielders are. Andres Jimenez at second, Brandon Valenzuela at first, but there are 2 outs. Foul back, 0-1. The third baseman, Gray, really guarding the line. He's deep and maybe about 4 or 5 feet from the third base line. Ernie hit it to him last time up. It's now 0-2. Those 2 guys talk constantly. Constantly. Addison Barger, Davis Schneider. Line to third, and Gray was in exactly the right spot to make the catch. 2 more men left on by the Blue Jays. They've now stranded 6 through. And the man. It's been a long time since anybody called me Dan the Man. A long time. Tommy Nance into the game of the 5th. Victor Caratini will ground out on the first pitch that he sees.
Nance came in and got a couple of outs Friday night in relief of Patrick Corbin, and for Tommy, he's only been scored upon in 2 outings, but a real rough one against the Dodgers, giving up 4 runs in just an inning and a third. So the numbers aren't what he wants them to be, but for the most part, he's been pretty good.
Max Scherzer 2 1/3 today. Joe Mantiply an inning and 2/3. Now Tommy Nance here in the 5th. Tristan Gray has homered and been hit by a pitch. Plays a nice third base too. We have seen that Friday and again here today. He has not had a lot of big league experience. He's been in the big leagues. This is just his 55th game over 4 seasons. He's been with the Rays, the Marlins, the A's, the Rays again, and now the Twins. But he is off to a nice start this year. He is 6 for 20 with 2 homers and 11 RBIs in 20 at-bats. So he has made the most of his playing time. He chops this one out in front of the plate. Valenzuela down to Guerrero for the 2nd out.
Tommy Nance can be very efficient because he can pound the zone pretty well. He's got both breaking pitches, the curveball and the slider. And that curveball come right over top. That's how he gets that ball beaten the ground.
2 quick outs, and here's Brooks Lee. 1 for 2, had a 2-run double his last time up. And because so many guys are rested and there's an off day tomorrow, it might, this isn't really about saving guys. Like everybody might get an inning here today because none of them pitched yesterday and none of them are going to pitch tomorrow. Curveball misses outside.
I saw Jeff Hoffman this morning, and he hasn't pitched since Wednesday. And I said, pretty much a guarantee we're going to see you today. And he said, yeah, probably. And John Schneider said as much too. These guys need to get regular work. Tyler Rogers also hadn't pitched since Wednesday.
Boy, that's another good curveball. When he puts his curveball where he wants to, it is tough to hit.
And that sinker can be sneaky 95, 96 at times. And that's why, like I said, he had a real tough one against the Dodgers. But Tommy Nance can still be that quiet, nice piece at the back of your bullpen.
Stays with it, and he strikes him out. What a good inning for Tommy Nance. To the bottom of the fifth, 8-1 Twins as we get an update with Jamie Campbell. 5 hits, including a couple of home runs in the series. It'll be Varsho, Guerrero, and Sanchez. The Blue Jays have 4 hits in this game, and Taj Bradley has walked 4, but just 1 run, because they are 1 for 6 with runners in scoring position and have stranded 6. 2-0 the count on Varsho. Now ball 3.
Bradley tried to go with a little bit of a different game plan and went to the breaking pitches early to Dalton. Fell behind.
Takes one, and it's 3-1.
I consider cutters almost breaking pitches, especially Bradley's looks like a slider.
And another hit for Varsho. He hits a screamer into the right field corner, and he's got himself a double. Well, he is certainly doing what he can to try to pick up the slack for his injured teammates.
Tees off on this fastball. Bradley trying to get back into the count, but Dalton was ready for it. And there's that heater. It's up in the zone, but it's out over. And he gets the barrel to it easily with that, what I would say, chopping down approach. He's thinking he's working down to the baseball. You can see him really flatten that bat path at the top of the zone.
Boy, all of a sudden he is red hot here in this series. Here's Guerrero. Vladdy has walked twice. Oh, and 2.
That looked like it got a lot of flesh. Caratini not very happy. Leave yourself pretty exposed back there, and that's what can happen with foul tips. It's going to miss the gear.
Derek Shelton considering who he wants out of his bullpen. Nobody has gotten up. Bradley's over 90 pitches. So you know somebody's getting up soon, and that soon might be now. Taken low, ball 1. Well, it's funny, some guys' cutters go in on a lefty. His cutter is more straight down than it is in on a lefty. Is Tyler Rogers' twin brother Taylor Rogers is now getting up in the pen. Bounce to short. Varsho's got a retreat, and Guerrero's thrown out. Let's go to Hazel.
Dan, Vladdy was pretty matter-of-fact when he was asked how this team can overcome all these injuries. Vladdy said, this is baseball. It's not the NBA where a guy scores 45 points. Everybody in the lineup has to do their part. He has to go out there and do his job. It's not going to be easy, he said, but we have to keep playing and keep fighting. That's all we can do until those guys come back. Dan.
Hazel, thank you. It is a 1 through 26 kind of thing. And he's right. You can't. No one player in baseball can mean as much to his team as the best player on an NBA team can mean. But
it's a good analogy for that reason.
Jesus Sanchez has been up with a couple of men on twice and has grounded into a double play and struck out. Varsho looked like he was on his way to third. Bradley looked back at him and then threw the pitch to the plate. I don't know if Varsho was actually intending to go because he didn't think Bradley was paying any attention, but he was way out there. As now Davis Schneider's got a bat in hand.
So often we see with left-handed batters the third baseman way off that bag, so regardless of the score, sometimes runners will be thinking they're giving me the 90 feet, I should just take it. But you got to be careful.
Two and two on Sanchez, who's in the cleanup spot for the 5th consecutive game. And he's had an extra base hit in each of the last 4. Double, 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 and then a home run yesterday. Swings through it, and Bradley strikes him out for the 2nd time today. And Sanchez has not had his best at-bats of the season here this afternoon. He is struggling with Bradley.
A lot of swing and miss there from Sanchez. We've talked about the fastball down being his pitch, but you see how he really sinks into his legs and just under that baseball.
So 2 down, and here's Kazuma Okamoto.
That's the type of swing right there from Okamoto that I feel like he's doing a lot of thinking in the batter's box. He's not going up there looking for a breaking pitch to hit there. He wasn't looking for the fastball, or if he was, he's looking fastball but swung at the cutter. And he's certainly adjusting, coming over and trying to figure out how the league is going to pitch against him. We're seeing them stay away a lot of fastballs up and out over the plate.
Mason Fluharty up in the bullpen. Bounced in for ball 1. John Schneider's trying to change the luck of the team. That's not Springer at the near end, right? That's Schneider at the far end. Yeah. It's come to that. Bounce just foul. John Schneider didn't run for it, using a lot of phrases like, this is going to be a challenge, talking about the fact that they've got so many injuries, Springer the latest one, and they're just not playing their best baseball right now. Just trying to hang in there, play better, and get some of these guys back. But it is natural for each guy to put a little more pressure on himself.
Sure, everyone feels like they've got to step up a little bit, but it's really been the emotion too. Even the last week of that Dodgers series, you know, they come back and win that Wednesday game, and then they've got the Twins coming in. They win that first game coming back, but then such a setback yesterday. It's like the bubble just burst, and then once again it's happening today.
Check swing, and it's 2-2. Bradley at 105 pitches.
Gone over 100 in each of his last 2 starts. It's 3rd in a row.
And he gets Okamoto. A leadoff double. Another man stranded. The Blue Jays now 1 for 9 with runners in scoring, because the Blue Jays, they led early, but all Twins since. Again, the Blue Jays have had a lot of opportunities, but they've left 7 men on. They're down 8-1 here in the rubber match of this 3-game series. And Mason Fluharty is now on the mound.
Fluharty's 24 years old, pitching in his 8th game of the season. He had a rough one Wednesday against the Dodgers. He was another one of the Blue Jays under the weather. He walked a couple of batters, just wasn't feeling right. So hopefully, and John Schneider said this morning that he is better and good to go. They need him to get back to himself.
I am very surprised you said he was another one of the guys under the weather, as opposed to saying Flu had the flu.
I asked John, how's Flu with the flu?
You did ask him. Because you did it down there, I thought you were going to do it up here. Flu had the flu. We talked to him briefly yesterday, and you could see he wasn't right.
Yep.
I didn't talk to him today, but saw him from just a few feet away in the clubhouse, and he looked much more like himself today. Check swing foul off. 1-2 on James Outman. Derek Shelton with a hug for his starter. That's another good outing by Bradley. He got himself into some trouble with the walks, but he made the big pitches to get out of it. And it looks like the Blue Jays and all of us will see a major league debut. That is Andrew Morris. That's strike 3 call. Good pitch by Fluharty. Andrew Morris was
Calling the field as a strike. The batter's challenging.
the batter is challenging. That's a strike.
Call confirmed. Minnesota has
plenty.
1 challenge remaining.
So the Twins have 1 remaining. Blue Jays still have both of theirs. The Twins made a roster move on Friday, and Andrew Morris was called up to the big leagues, and he's a starting pitcher and one of their better prospects, and he's going to make his major league debut. Cody Clemens takes one a little bit high, ball 1. Clemens 1 for 3, hit a solo homer in the 3rd. There's Pablo Lopez.
Yeah, he's with the club.
Talking pitching.
Yes, they are. And I'm sure Pablo's got a lot to offer. I understand he's a very cerebral guy when it comes to pitching, and boy, being able to pass on some of that knowledge to a young pitcher. Taj Bradley just 25 years old.
Did he go? Yes, he did. 1 and 2. You could see Valenzuela pointing at the hitter and then saying, oh, I got to appeal down to third, pointing down to the third base umpire.
Brandon said yes, he went.
Yeah. You know what's funny is that when spins Clemens out of the way, sometimes you see with a rookie catcher, there's only 3 umpires in the minors, right? So sometimes that umpire's in second base. So I can't remember when, but a handful of times remember a young catcher appealing out to the second base umpire when there's actually an umpire at third base.
They'll be at first and third, but once a runner gets on base, that third base umpire will move to the middle.
Yeah. So for a left-handed batter, there's nobody down at third, just situational, but kind of funny to see.
And in the minor leagues, you might see the catcher point down to third, but there's nobody there.
Yeah. 3-2. Clemens stays alive. Swung on and missed. Back-to-back strikeouts for Fluharty.
Bring the colors of the ballpark to your home with Beauty Tone Paint's Toronto Blue Jays collection. Only at Home Hardware and Building Centers.
6th inning here at Rogers Center. The Twins 8 and the Blue Jays 1 in the final game of this homestand. Trevor Larnach is the batter. He's 1 for 3, had a base hit and scored in the 3rd. Fluharty looks much more like himself here today.
Looks like a different guy than we saw on the mound against the Dodgers. That's a really good sign for him and for the Jays.
In the air to shallow center field. Easy play for Varsho, and a 1-2-3, top of the 6th for Mason Fluharty. Here's a major league debut. This is Andrew Morris, 24 years of age, a 4th-round pick of the Twins in 2022, was called up after Cody Lorison, a reliever, was placed on the IL for the Twins after Friday night's game. Morris is a starter by trade, but will make his major league debut here in relief today.
As we see so often with young prospects coming up, Derek Shelton breaking into the big leagues out of the bullpen.
He misses high, ball 1 to Nathan Lucas. Lucas, Eloy Jimenez, and Andres Jimenez here in the bottom of the 6th for the Blue Jays. A run on 5 hits for the Blue Jays today. 3 of those 5 belonging to Dalton Varsho.
Four pitches from Morris: fastball, curveball, slider, and changeup. We'll see that fastball. The first one was in the mid-90s.
There's the fastball, fouled off 1-2.
Another kind of over-the-top delivery that similar to what we saw from Taj Bradley.
Breaking ball fouled off the curve there from Morris. So Taj Bradley went 5 and allowed just 1 run. Again, issued some walks, but got into trouble through a career high 106 pitches here today. You could see Lucas look that one right into the mid of Caratini.
Mid-70s to mid-90s.
MLB.com has Morris as Minnesota's 13th ranked prospect. So Varsho's hot. That's a good sign. You can see in the background there Mason Fluharty in conversation with head athletic trainer Jose Menestral. And this is popped up for the shortstop Lee. 1 down.
Clear game plan from the Twins. It's 3 times now they've got Lucas and the fastballs up in the zone.
Louis Varland will get an inning in again. All of the high leverage guys are pretty well rested, so John Schneider is going to run them out there one at a time today. They've got an off day tomorrow. Here's Eloy Jimenez, 1 for 2, had a line drive base hit to left his last time up. Jimenez finished 4th in Rookie of the Year balloting in 2019. In the COVID-shortened 2020 season, he won a Silver Slugger Award with the White Sox. And another very good year in 2022, albeit dealing with some injuries, but had an .858 OPS. But things really fell off for him in 2024, and then he didn't play in the majors at all last year. But healthy now. Really turns the toes of that left foot, the front leg, kind of in backwards, back towards the catcher almost.
So many hitters will have little things that they do. Yeah, really trying to turn that hip to make sure he gets a good fire.
It doesn't look comfortable, but it obviously works for him.
So often you focus, you'll see hitters belt buckle turn toward the catcher as they coil, as they load, and that might be just something to help him really get turned before he fires forward.
Swing and a miss, and Morris has his first big league strikeout.
Pretty good breaking pitch right there, down in the zone. Jimenez swings right over top of it. You can certainly see the stuff from this young man.
Well, you could see Morris, the emotion kind of came out, a little pump of the fist there after his first big league strikeout, and now he dials up 96 on Andres Jimenez.
Pitching with a little confidence right here with 2 outs.
He's got that follow through with his right leg.
The leg swing.
Yeah. When I saw it the first time, I thought maybe he was just pumped up, but he does it a lot. It's obviously just part of his delivery. See, does it again. 1 and 2.
That little Gosman-esque maybe. Does Kevin do that a little bit, the way it swings through?
Injuries have slowed his rise to the big leagues. Jimenez hooks one to right field, and that'll get down and up against the wall on a bounce. Into second with a 2-out double.
Andres Jimenez looks like he's reaching on what's the baseball. He gets this curveball down in the zone and rakes it into the right field corner.
Well, the only thing I can see, it's his 100th career double. So maybe he was aware of that, and that's the reason.
There it is.
Yeah, that ball's being taken out of play.
Well, you land on second base and you stand up and you just show you don't think he knew that coming into the game.
Guys know their numbers. Here's Brandon Valenzuela. Being authenticated as we speak. Valenzuela has struck out and walked. So the hits are 7-6. It's that close. And the Blue Jays have walked more than the Twins have walked, but it's 8-1. It's how much you hit, but it's also when you hit. Can you string them together? Obviously 2 homers for the Twins as well. Blue Jays do not have a home run today, but there's a swing and a miss, and Morris gets his second strikeout of his first big league inning. Looks like some family is here to root him on. The Twins with a couple of big innings early. They knocked Max Scherzer out of the game after 2 1/3 home runs for Tristan Gray and Cody Clemens. It is 8-1, and here is former Twin Louis Varland to face his old club for the second time in the series.
Pitched on Friday night, came in and got 4 outs. He'll get some work today, and with the day off tomorrow, you hope to have him on schedule. Be good to go for those Brewers.
Luke Keeschall will lead it off. He's 2 for 3 today, a couple of base hits. You know, coming into the game today, Joe, the Blue Jays had more innings thrown by their bullpen than all but 2 teams. Ironically, 2 teams they've already faced this year, the White Sox and the Rockies. And that includes a couple of outings, unfortunately, for Tyler Heineman in blowouts. So they had the 3rd most relief innings in the majors so far this year coming into today. And that could change to number 2 or number 1 by the end of today with all the innings that the bullpen has to throw today. And it's just a tough way to make a living. Did not go, and it's 2-2.
What did we say? Close to a handful of times now. Starters have not gone 3 innings.
Yep.
That's leaving a lot of work. One of those was a Fluharty opener, but still. And also includes Ponce's injury.
Yep. So that was a factor in it as Keeschall strikes out. Varland gets him. But again, you know, guys like Savage, Barrios, and Bieber, and it appears to be in that order. Hopefully coming back soon. Savage the closest, maybe a couple of weeks away. Maybe sooner if they give him just one rehab start and it goes well and they decide, you know what, they need him. Sometimes how quickly you bring a guy back is not just based on how things are going for him. It's based on your needs with the big club.
And the needs are high, as we are seeing. I don't like to deal with this so early in the season. You go through stretches throughout the course of a season where things like this happen, but when it happens early like this, I think the one thing too, when we talked about it earlier, the division and the American League, like nobody's running away with anything. So you get through these muddy waters, try to continue to stay afloat until you get some of these bodies back and healthy.
They've got Gausman and Cease in the first 2 games in Milwaukee, Tuesday and Wednesday. Then Patrick Corbin will start the finale. He went 4 innings in his Blue Jay debut and allowed 4 runs to the Twins on Friday. Hopefully he can get a little deeper into the game. Gausman certainly off to a terrific start here in his 5th season as a Blue Jay. Swing and a miss. Varland gets another.
And that's probably one thing Kevin would say he wants to do more than any is to get deep in the game. He knows that he and Cease are the main guys at the front end of this rotation. Kevin very capable of going 7-8 innings.
And I don't know if they're even considering this, but sometimes you see when you got a couple of guys doing what these guys are doing and then you're not getting enough innings out of the rest of your pen, you split up the guys. But Cease hasn't, as good as he's been, it's not like he's been going 7 every time, right? And he'll talk about this himself. He wants to be more efficient, doesn't want to walk guys, wants to get deeper into games. But
that's not his reputation, right? And he'd like to be better. That's why he's used that word efficient so many times. That new sinker we were talking about, that's a pitch that you can get a first pitch to a righty, maybe to hit a ground ball. It's a 1-pitch at bat. keeps you in the game longer. If you save 8, 10, 12 pitches here and there, that's another inning.
That is Tyler Fitzgerald between Gausman and Cease, the former San Francisco Giant, who has yet to appear in a game for the Blue Jays. If this one doesn't get close in the late inning, I wonder if John Schneider gives him an at-bat.
You would think. It's strange we haven't seen him, and especially in a game like this again today, though. Anytime a new player arrives, usually you want to get them into action.
Could get a start against a lefty in Milwaukee. Kyle Harrison, former teammate of Fitzgerald's in San Francisco, tentatively scheduled to start the third game. Fitzgerald, a right-handed batter.
Seen him taking ground balls at shortstop, second base, mostly in the middle of the infield. Runs well.
Healthy after an injury-plagued season a year ago. Ouch. Matt Wallner's not having any fun with Louis Varland. Louis Varland is pitching extremely well this year.
Yeah.
Foul back. Struck out the first two he has faced today in Keyshaw and Bell, and trying to put away Wallner.
I don't know if Louis is feeling good or just loves pitching against his old team.
Got him.
Wow.
Louis Varland is not messing around. Went with a changeup to get Matt Wallner as he strikes out the side.
Fortunately for the Blue Jays this season, it's happening at the start.
Clement will lead off the bottom of the seventh. Andrew Morris back on the mound for his second major league inning. Clement 1 for 3 overall. Upstairs, a ball and a strike. And takes the curveball outside, ball 2. He went 2-2. They've got video, they've got information. The hitting coaches give him some stuff in the dugout, but none of these guys have seen Andrew Morris before. Bounced up the middle, and that'll be the second hit of the day for Clement.
Ernie doing his thing. Again, it doesn't matter where he is in the lineup. He is going to have his approach at the plate. Just a good contact hitter. And we saw a lot of that in the postseason. This one bounces up the middle.
Now Dalton Varsho, who all of a sudden in this series is red hot. He is 3 for 3 today. Dalton Varsho's never had a 4-hit game in the big leagues. 3 for 3 today. Had a home run yesterday, had a home run and a double on Friday. Foul ball, foul ball.
Now, interesting, it looked like the first base umpire, Scott Berry, made that call. Oftentimes you'll see with the ball in front of the base, the home plate umpire make that call.
Yeah.
Derek Thomas coming up from behind home plate. He saw Scott Berry make the call, so he didn't make the call.
Yeah, by rule, until it gets to the bag, it's maybe not by rule, but
by umpires.
Yeah.
That's my understanding.
Yeah.
I haven't umpired since I was about 16 years old. Yes, maybe that code has changed.
No, I think that's right. Until it gets to the base, it's the home plate umpire. I don't mind the first base, the base umpire.
Got a pretty good view.
Yeah. I
would say better because the home plate umpire's got to come back out from behind home plate to see it. So it makes more sense for the first base umpire to make that call.
Two and two on Varsho. Hits are now even at 7 apiece. He's definitely been getting to the high fastballs better the last couple of days. Hit a home run off a high fastball yesterday.
High fastball. He took Joe Ryan deep yesterday. Fastball up and in. And remember we said you clear a couple of those pitches out of there and they maybe go to other places. We're seeing him maybe going away a little bit more to Dalton. Now looks like setting back up inside.
Little jam shot. That is foul up the third baseline.
He's laughing because that one got all in on his hands. Cutting in. That would have been a beautiful double if it landed fair.
It didn't miss by much.
Yeah, he thought about running.
So it remains 2-2. David Popkins, formerly the hitting coach of the Twins, now in his second year with the Blue Jays. Takes it low, ball 3.
And most impressive was that take right there. He just really saw, he picked up the spin on that ball early and laid off.
Clement the lead. And the 3-2 down the left field line. This one is foul, but Varsho is covering stuff right now.
Covering everything, all the zones. And that's a very improved whiff rate. Not as much swing and miss.
That's a great pitch.
97 down and away.
Three-two again. In the air, right center field, and it's hanging up long enough for Wallner to come over and get it. 1 down. So Varsho retired for the first time today. Morris will now face Guerrero, who has walked twice and then grounded out in the 5th. Bounced up the middle, and that will be grabbed out there by Lee, but he doesn't have a play on anybody. It's an infield hit for Guerrero. Clement into second.
Good sinker from Morris that time, and Roddy just hit it into the turf, but he hits the baseball so hard it accelerated on top spin up the middle for an infield hit.
Ernie kind of had hands on knees for a while after that slide, but appears to be okay. And here's Jesus Sanchez, who's had a frustrating day. Not only is he 0 for 3 with 2 strikeouts and a double play ball. Obviously there was traffic in front of him on the double play ball. There were 2 on with nobody out, 2 on with 1 out in the 3rd, runner at second, 1 out in the 5th. He's been up in big spots, but Taj Bradley was able to get him all 3 times. Tyler Rogers will get an inning in. He has not pitched yet in the series. Still 0-2 on Sanchez. That'll bounce in and away from Caratini to the backstop, and the wild pitch allows both runners to advance.
It's a changeup, and it's a hard one from Morris, but Caratini, when you call a changeup, you have to be ready to turn that glove over and block it. It's a hard one, but he's got the glove the wrong way. He just tried to pick it cleanly.
Infield will stay back for the Twins, given the scoreboard right now. The 1-2, up and away. In and out of the mid of Caratini, so Sanchez still at the plate. Clement's at third, Guerrero's at second. Infield back for the Twins. This ball is pretty well struck to the opposite field. It'll be caught just shy of the track by Larnach. Clement can tag it to come in. It's a sac fly for Sanchez, and it's 8-2.
A lot of elevated fastballs to Sanchez this afternoon. He was able to get to this one, get in the air to cash in a run. But I think he's getting a feel too for how opposing teams are continuing to pitch him as well.
Now Kazuma Okamoto 0 for 2 with a walk. Got the day off yesterday. The average is down to 212. Got a couple of home runs. Both of those came early. You tell me, it just feels like he's in between, not you know, maybe guessing what's coming or just not in a rhythm up there. Looking fastball, getting spin, looking spin, getting fastball. Grounds this one to short. Lee's got it, and the inning is over. The Blue Jays get one at the end of 7. Now trail 8-2. It is time for a Blue Jays Central update with Jamie and Caleb.
First appearance for Tyler in this series, and I'm sure he wished he was pitching against his brother's team and a little bit more high leverage, but he's just going to get some work in here today. Hasn't pitched since Wednesday in that Dodgers series.
Victor Caratini leads it off for Minnesota. And takes a strike over the outside corner. Quickly 0-2. Don't know if it'll happen today. We'll have to see if Taylor Rogers gets in, but Tyler and Taylor were teammates for a couple of years with the Giants, so they pitched in the same game as teammates 57 times. That is off the glove of a diving Clement into right for a base hit. Only 5 times in their careers have they each pitched in the same game as opponents. Opposite trait, identical twins. Tyler right-handed, Taylor left-handed. This one's hair parts on this side, that one's hair parts on that side. I don't know all the ins and outs of it, but Tyler told us a little bit about it. Two guys who have had nice long careers. That'll go foul.
And they do it certainly different ways. Taylor from the left side, and Tyler, he's down under. It's a sinking fastball, relies on a lot of movement, and of course he's got that big sweeping slider. Taylor as a lefty, not overpowering either, but he's still up around 90-91 with his sinker.
Here's a ground ball. Clement to Jimenez, back to first, in time to turn 2.
Well, Ernie really secured this baseball, wanted to make sure he had it on that base hit by Caratini. He dove for it, kind of went off his glove, but he makes sure that he secures this one and gives Jimenez a good feed to turn that double play.
I think Ernie Clement gets the ball from glove to bare hand and gone about as quick as anybody.
Yeah, he can flip it. Not always having the best grip, but he can still get it there.
2 down. Here's the Minnesota shortstop Brooks Lee, 1 for 3, had a 2-run double in the 3rd. And another ground ball. Jimenez. Good inning for Rogers. To the bottom of the 8th, the Twins 8 and the Blue Jays 2. You're watching Rogers Blue Jays baseball on Sports
68. He's in his 11th big league season, and now we get to watch Tyler Rogers in a Blue Jays uniform. He's in his 8th big league season.
Nathan Lucas looks at a strike to get things going here in the bottom of the 8th. Andrew Morris in his 3rd inning on the mound for the Twins in his big league debut will face Lucas, Eloy Jimenez, and Andres Jimenez. $37,804 here today, trying to keep the faith. Blue Jays out on the road, flying out tonight, off day tomorrow, 3 at Milwaukee, 3 at Arizona, 3 at the Angels. Some finals are trickling in, and one of them I find pretty interesting. The A's shut out the Mets 1-0 today. The A's have had some kind of a week. They were in New York the entire week as Lucas sprays this one down the left field line where the catch is made by Larnach. They were in New York the entire week. You don't see this much at all. 3 at the Yankees, 3 at the Mets, and the A's went 5-1. Took 2 out of 3 from the Yankees, just swept the Mets, and had 3 shutouts in those 5 wins.
Who would have called that one?
Wow.
Very impressive. Well, we saw them at the start. We know that they can swing the bats. That lineup can do some damage.
But they can obviously pitch.
Yeah.
I mean, they've got
That's impressive.
Yeah. The Yankees are trying to, and it looks like they just failed. It looks like it has just gone final, that they have lost to the Rays 5-4 down in St. Pete at the Trop. So that is a 5-game losing streak for the Yankees, who fall to 8-7 on the season. This one to left field, and it's going to drop. Larnach thought about it, plays it on a bounce, and Eloy Jimenez has his 2nd hit of the game. Jeff Hoffman will get an inning in the top of the 9th. So the only 2 guys who will not pitch, Spencer Miles, obviously, who went 3 2/3 yesterday, and then Braden Fisher went 2 on Friday. Everybody else getting into the game here today.
Sets them up nicely with the off day tomorrow, a fresh bullpen as they begin to take on the Brewers.
Andres Jimenez 1 for 3, had a double to right his last time up. One and 2. Milwaukee is the Blue Jays' next opponent. The Brewers are trailing the Nationals 6-3 in Milwaukee through 7. If Milwaukee loses that game, that'll be a 5-game losing streak for them. So you're going to have a couple of teams not feeling particularly great about themselves entering that series on Tuesday. But Down the left field line. Can he keep it fair? Nope, just into the seats.
Who would have thought we'd be talking about the Pittsburgh Pirates early in the season? They're off to a great start. Brewers, obviously, and Cubs favored in that division.
I mean, Milwaukee had the best record in all of baseball last year. They won 97 games. They got a lot of good players.
And got off to a pretty good start this year.
Yeah. Long way to go.
Yes.
Long way to go. Little looper. And it's a base hit. Jimenez up to second on the second hit of the game by Andres Jimenez.
He's got in on his hands. It was a breaking pitch that just broke a little too much for Jimenez, but he planted it just perfectly over the head of the shortstop.
And Pete Mackey, the pitching coach for the Twins, on his way to the mound to talk to Andrew Morris. Looks like the bullpen is getting up. Nine hits in the game now for the Blue Jays. They have had at least one hit in every inning except the second. But again, as we've mentioned a few times, they have left a lot of men on base. This could be, you know, coulda, shoulda, woulda, but this could be a much closer game than it is. 1 for 11 with runners in scoring position. Justin Topa's up.
And that could just be a combination of Derek Shelton saying, yes, the young man's being stretched out. He was a starter in AAA, so he's gone 3+, but just to make sure he puts the finishing touches on this series, he's trying to win this thing before they head home and face Boston.
Yeah, they don't have an off day. They play tomorrow back at home. Valenzuela, a couple of strikeouts, sandwiched around a walk. And strike one taken. Very shallow right field. Out goes Keyshaw. And in comes Wallner to make the play for the second out. So with 2 outs, it'll be Ernie Clement, who's already got a couple of hits in this game, and he has scored both of the runs the Blue Jays have. I would think, given what he's done today, and the fact that Jacob Mizorowski's another big fastball guy starting Tuesday for Milwaukee, Ernie might be up in the leadoff spot again.
Yeah, it makes sense. I think he is your guy, especially handling that high velocity at the top of the zone.
Did not get velocity on the first pitch. As he swings through the sweeper, it's 0-1. And again, 0-2.
Well located with both of those pitches from Morris.
That time, Clement was able to check it. Ball 1. Fastball line to left, a base hit. Eloy Jimenez will be held at third, and the third hit of the game for Clement. Finally got that fastball, and he's got his third hit.
Just wait him out, I guess. 3 breaking pitches away. Ernie didn't look too good on 2 of them, and they tried to sneak a fastball by him, but you're not going to sneak a fastball by Ernie.
You know, one thing John Schneider said about Clement before the game is no matter where you hit him, you're going to get Ernie Clement. Like, he's not going to change anything. It's
nope.
And
he's not taking pitches.
No.
He's not trying to get on base and take a walk.
He is who he is, and he's had an awfully good day, as has this guy, Dalton Varsho. 3 for 4. 2 singles and a double, as we mentioned last time up. Has never had a 4-hit game in the big leagues. And above and beyond that, one big swing could make this game really interesting.
We know when we see those breaking pitches come down and into Dalton, he is going to get the bat and head out, and he's going to drill it to the first base dugout and beyond. And that one was lined right into the netting.
Couple of breaking balls to start this at bat. Morris out in front, 0-2. Fly ball to right field. Wallner has room as Varsho just got under it and flies out to end the bottom of the 8th. He is young, and he is throwing about as hard as anybody in the big leagues. He's just in his 2nd year in the big leagues. He was an all-star actually last season. Here is Jeff Hoffman to work the top of the 9th. And a swing and a miss by James Outman.
Hoffman got his 2nd save of the season on Wednesday. Final game of that Dodger series. Getting an inning of work here, and much like Rogers and Varland, a lot of these guys be tuned up and ready for Milwaukee.
0-2.
Jacob Mizorowski has 28 strikeouts this season in his 16 1/3, so he is bringing it.
I know Gausman and Cease were tied for the major league lead at 26, so I guess Mizorowski went past him.
I think he did.
You've got #1 and tied for 2nd in strikeouts on the mound Tuesday.
Bring those contact bats.
Popped up shallow right, and it is Clement at 2nd who will make the catch for the first out.
Boy, Jeff just coming in and out of the bullpen, throwing the heat. All fastballs to retire Outman.
Top of the order, Cody Clemens, 1 for 4, had a home run in the 3rd, his 2nd of the season. Bullpen's been great today.
Yeah.
Sure looked like he went around, and he did. It's 0-2.
Well, we've been talking about how good his splitter has been, but that was an outstanding slider, one of the best we've seen him throw. Sharp, sharp late break, and that got the very indecisive swing there from Clemens.
His stuff looks good.
Yeah.
He gave up the home run to Shea Langoliers on opening day on a 98-mile-an-hour fastball at the bell. And then Hoffman victimized by defense a couple of times, but his stuff looks good. Got him. 2 down.
All 3 pitches looking good. The fastball showing good velocity, good life to it. The splitter's been outstanding. Slider's been sharp as well.
Now Hoffman to face Trevor Larnach. And you can see that strikeout rate. He's striking out almost half the batters that he's faced so far this season.
I think he's getting to a point too where he's becoming more unpredictable, because normally it's the fastball slider combination to righties, fastball split to lefties, but he's mixing them in.
Do you know who's number 1 in strikeout rate?
Strikeout rate?
Yeah. I'll ask Justin. Was there a minimum? Is it the guy I think it is? It's a reliever, right? Yeah, I know it is.
Oh, a reliever.
Yeah,
Could it be Mason Miller?
It would be Mason Miller, who has faced 24 batters and has struck out 19 of them this year. You better get the Padres early because you ain't getting them late.
Wow.
He's like
102,
on another
104.
level. Yeah, he's unbelievable. One and two, the count on Larnach. And Hoffman gets him, but Larnach wants to challenge. The Twins have 1 remaining.
Call the field as a strike. Batter's challenging.
It's a strike.
House confirmed.
Barely,
Minnesota's
but
out
it
of
is a
town.
strike. And Jeff Hoffman gets the Twins in order, including a couple of strikeouts. Will lose this series and take a 6-9 record to Milwaukee. Justin Topa is in looking for the final 3 outs for the Twins.
He's a 35-year-old sidearmer from Long Island, originally a draft pick of the Pittsburgh Pirates. Sinker, cutter, change, and sweeper from that sidearm angle.
One defensive change for the Twins. Austin Martin has taken over in left field for Trevor Larnach. Vladimir Guerrero Jr. 1 for 2, an infield hit, and he's also walked twice. Off the end of the bat, a ground ball out to second. Keyshaw will make the play for the first out. Topa to face Jesus Sanchez. Had a sac fly his last time up, 0 for 3 on the day. And a base hit into left center. Martin will cut it off to hold him to a single. You don't see many games where one team is out hitting the other 12-8 but losing 8-2. But the Twins bunched all of their damage early off. Max Scherzer hit a couple of homers.
3-run homer was the big one, of course, in that second inning.
And just capitalized. They had 2 innings with chances, and they got the big hit in both innings. And the Blue Jays, as I'm sure people have heard more than they want to hear today, have just been leaving them on too much here today. 2 for 14 with runners in scoring position. The Blue Jays have left 12 men on. The Twins only 3.
Something the Blue Jays did real well last year, but haven't gotten to that clip yet this season.
But it took them a while last year. It didn't start
time.
early. They were not great at it for about 2 months, and then were the best in baseball.
The whole offense, really.
Yep. 1-2 on Kazuma Okamoto. 0 for 3 with a walk. Got a piece of it.
Victor Caratini has taken a few foul tips back there today.
Back in there. The count remains 1-2 on Okamoto. 1 on, 1 out, bottom of the 9th inning. Another foul off. did not go. Close, but evidently he didn't. It is 2-2. I would imagine by day 4 or 5 of George Springer being on the IL, he's going to be like a puppy with the zoomies. He's going to have a lot of energy in that dugout that he's not able to get out. And I think we're going to see him get into some mischief down there on the road trip. Is my guess. He wants to get back, but here's a grounder to short, and this should do it. It does. The Twins will turn it. And that's the ball game as the Twins win 8-2, take the series from the Blue Jays. So they've won 6 out of 7. And the Blue Jays dropped to 6-9 on the season.
Always tough when you see teams around you doing these things that you want to do, but there is only one way to turn things around. They're going to have to do it themselves. They're heading into Milwaukee, a tough team who's struggling as well. So take full advantage and enjoy a day off before they get back to business.
We will be with you Tuesday night. Great pitching matchup. Kevin Gausman and Jacob Misiorowski give the final. The Twins 8 and the Blue Jays 2. Time now for Blue Jays Central. Here are Jamie and